This is the Gore N More podcast with your hosts TJ Bowser, Chad Chrisman, and Wes Payne.
The man behind the mask. I don't wanna be buried in a
What's up, guys, and welcome to another episode of the Gore N More podcast. This is your host, TJ Bowser, and joining me, as always, is your Dark Lord and Savior, Chad Chrisman.
What up, everybody?
And bringing in the pain, as always, is Wes Nuckraven Payne.
What's going on?
And our very special guest, Deborah Voorhees from 13 Fanboy and Friday the 13th Part 5.
Hey, guys. Thanks so much for having me.
Before we get started with our segment 13 with 13, I would like to play a message from our sponsors and then get started right into the first question. Gore N More is brought to you in part by A New Kind of Fear Customs. Friday the 13th inspired custom gaming controllers, hockey masks, latex masks, and collectible statues. You can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at A New Kind of Fear Customs. Do you like photography, cosplay, and Friday the 13th? Then check out 13 Gallows Lane. You can find them on Facebook at Gallows Goes to Hell, on Instagram at 13 Gallows Lane, and on Patreon at Emily Helene. Warning, some content not safe for work. Okay, so Deborah.
Yes.
How did 13 Fanboy get started?
Well, I was actually sitting down chatting with my producing partner, Joel Paul Rysick, and we were talking about a couple of the projects we were working on and talking about, what direction we wanted to go. And then, what's it like at horror conventions? He was kind of curious. And I always said, well, it's a lot of work, but it's also a lot of fun. Horror fans are really cool. They're fun to hang out with and such. And he said, well, has there ever been any kind of scary moments, something that made you uncomfortable? And I said, well, no, not really at a convention. However, I have had a couple incidences online that, unnerved me. One was I had possibly a fan, I'm assuming a fan, but also just could have been somebody playing a practical joke or something. But several other members of Friday the 13th have said something similar, so it could be the same person. But typically I get a message on Messenger saying, hey, wouldn't it be cool if you died in real life like you did in Friday the 13th?
Oh, my.
That's frightening.
Oh, Lord, that's wonderful.
No, actually not. Being brutally murdered is not on my list of to-dos in this life, as shocking as it is. So that was very unnerving and really bothered me. And then that disturbed me more because I had a series of text messages from somebody. Clear they knew me from Friday the 13th, that they meant harm, and that supposedly they were watching me at that moment. A practical joke that really wasn't funny. I don't know. Was it a fan? I don't know. Several messages from that person, and then I blocked that phone number, and then I didn't have any problems after that, but that one really unnerved me. And my producing partner said, this is a movie. And I'm like, oh, hell no. Scary real life. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I was looking for a horror film that would be for the fans. And so many fans have been asking about having, some of their favorite alum back in a film. And I literally had several sleepless nights, pacing the floor, or if I could really do it, because it just felt too scary, too real. That's the great thing about Friday the 13th. It's not real.
Yeah.
They're the theater, and you have some jump scares, and you might clench your seat, but it's almost like a giggling kind of scare because you're you're perfectly safe. You know, there's not really this guy that's just been dug up from the grave kind of thing. And he's not really out there killing anybody, but a stalker, a fanboy, it's getting serious. That's real. And interestingly enough, once we decided on it, because after several days, I was just like, this is scaring the hell out of me. And I know I can scare the hell out of other people with it. You know, it's exactly what fans have been asking. So, so we decided to move forward with it. And what was interesting, though, is talking to several Friday alum now that casting the film and all of that. And I was really surprised how many had very serious stalking issues.
Mm-hmm. I would imagine you're not the only one. There's probably a lot of them that,
Yeah, a lot more serious. A lot more serious. Adrian King was stalked for years. Lars Lincoln was stalked for years. Aronson had a very scary incidences with stalkers. So it's would have thought it would have been more rare.
Okay. Chad?
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. How would you describe the writing process with your partner for the film?
First thing that we did was we came up with a 30-page outline. And I'm talking about very detailed down to, the very of what was happening in every scene. You want to take a look at your plot line. You want to take a look at your character and your character arcs. An outline is a great way to go because you can see it very clearly and you can switch out other ideas very easily. We had that down. Then I ran with it and finished it with the dialogue and, basically to get our full-length feature film. Mm-hmm. It was very intense. The outline made it 1,000 times easier. What very often happens is people will write themselves into a box. They're writing along and writing along and writing along, and then they realize, ow, this plot line isn't working because of X, Y, and Z. It's not realistic. And now suddenly they got to go back to square one. Whereas with us, we could just pull out, some basic concepts and then building blocks as opposed to having to restructure everything.
Oh, cool.
Okay. Wes?
Yeah. What basically inspired the look of the killer in this movie?
I wanted something that was truly frightening. The human skull is something that frightens everybody because it's not a state any of us want to see ourselves in. Mm-hmm. It represents death. And so I got a hold of Marcio Charlie, who's a brilliant mask maker and special effects guy from Brazil, and gave him kind of a rough, sent him some images that I thought would make for a nice kind of idea. And then he took that image and stuff that I sent him and made it his own. And now the mask is a full headpiece.
It is.
It's really quite frightening. It's full latex, looks brilliant. Yeah, it's an intimidating.
That would be cool if after this movie, they could sell it and people could buy it or something. That'd be pretty neat.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
We will, for sure.
I'm sure there'll be cosplays everywhere.
Definitely be selling them.
Yeah.
Question number 4. How did you get such a star-studded cast together?
A lot of hard work.
I would think that would be the hardest part about all this is getting all these people to buy into this.
And for some people, they heard the concept and they were immediately in.
Mm-hmm.
I bet.
And for others, the idea was too frightening and didn't feel comfortable.
So you actually had more people, like all the people that are in this, there's people that turned it down because there's others that you asked and they actually
Well,
turned it down, huh?
Some of you probably know that Adrienne King had a really bad problem with a stalker.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
She and we originally talked about doing it, and absolutely she wanted to work with me. But then when the script was finished, it frightened her so much. I don't know how you did it because she doesn't really talk about what happened, but it was so much like what actually happened to her that it's just a place she can't go.
Yeah, when I saw she turned it down, that was my first thought. Is it's completely understandable. It's a little too personal for her.
Right, exactly. And she just, she's a lovely person, and would like to work with her at some point. But as you know, we have Dee Wallace on board.
Yes.
We're super thrilled to have her. She's just an absolute charmer. And yeah, we couldn't be more thrilled about it. We really couldn't.
Chad?
Okay, question number 5. What are some of the filming locations you're looking at right now?
Right now, we're going to be shooting in New Mexico, Los Angeles, and also we are going to need to shoot one scene or a couple scenes at a horror convention.
Oh.
And so we're trying to find one that can meet all the needs that we have.
I see.
Are there any good leads on that so far? Anything you've kind of narrowed it down to? Because I hear Pittsburgh is lovely this time of year.
Or Monster Mania in August?
Where is Monster Mania at?
That is in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
New Jersey. Okay. I am definitely open to any of the conventions. I would, if all possible, I would like to stay to, California and the Southwest, only because the majority of our cast and stuff is located in those areas.
Yes.
Keep production slower.
So it makes it much easier for me. However, if a convention would like, the publicity and stuff, because we're going to be, part of the deal with the convention is to, use their name. We'll be showing that it is at their convention. We want to shoot some B-roll stuff during the actual convention, and then we would need to come in and shoot our scenes after everything kind of closes down, but while everything's still up.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably, I think we have about 6 people. I'd have to go back and check for sure, but I think we have 6 actors, that are, from horror. And then we have a handful of extra parts. Like one line kind of things.
Mm-hmm.
And then some extra roles.
Okay.
I like to do our extra roles with fans, as opposed to, going with people who do that for a profession, because, this is called Fanboy. And so I'm trying very hard to it as much as possible. I've opened it up to have Friday the 13th fans send in music, artwork to go on walls, because I've got like one house where there's going to be a lot of horror art on the wall. It's going to be a high-end home, and so I need looks really scary but also high-end.
Yes.
Acrylic on canvas, oil on canvas, that sort of thing. And I've gotten some really amazing stuff. In fact, I just, and I've also got a major rocker that hopefully I'll be able to announce very soon, who's come on board. People called me up and I've now talked with him. He's thrilled. We're thrilled. We couldn't be more excited about working with each other, trying to be helping us with, the popular music. We have a composer who will be doing, the frightening stuff.
Yes.
He's a master of composing for films. He has more than 600 under his belt and just freaking brilliant. The guy literally writes in his sleep. And then this gentleman, our rocker guy, is going to be providing a lot of our rock music and stuff.
Awesome. Wes?
We're trying hard. I've got one piece that was unfinished from a fan that I've already picked, and I'm hoping to pick at least one, maybe two songs included in the film from fans.
Excellent. That's so cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. Can we expect, I got a question. Can we expect full practical effects with Savini trained Nora Hewitt on board, or what do you think about that?
Zero CGI.
Yes.
Yes.
Very important to me for several reasons. One, because it's important to the fans, and this is for the fans. No movie works if you don't have fans. You will die at the box office, and we don't want to die at the box office. We want to die in the out at the box office.
Yes.
That's one thing that's very important to us, is to give the fans what they really want. But it's also very important to me as an artist, because I just don't like the way CGI looks. To me, it doesn't look realistic. I always look at it and kind of scratch my head a little bit. It takes me out of the story.
It does.
The moves that I see a lot recently is where they do this thing where they slash people's throat, and then there's like this waterfall, this thin waterfall that just comes down. And that wouldn't work like that. And it doesn't take a genius to figure it out. You just look where the arteries and everything are, and you know it won't come out like that.
Mm-hmm.
Right. No,
You know what I mean? And there's no texture to it, and it looks flat.
yeah, it almost looks like video game-ish too. Like it's like,
It does.
you know, it looks
It
just too.
really does.
It just doesn't look real. Yeah, I agree completely.
Yeah. And I just, I want this to look very realistic. You know, we are a low budget indie, so, you know, we have to be careful with our budget and stuff, but that's a lot of what our Indiegogo campaign is going to be helping us with.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of things that you can do where you dress the actual actor as opposed to fully forming a corpse. And, you know, we'll do some of that. We'll do it as much as our budget will allow. And the more money that we raise, the, you know, more we can do that.
Yes.
We're super thrilled with it. And we couldn't be more thrilled to have Nora on board. I've had a few conversations with her at this point, and not only is she absolutely brilliant, she's a really nice person and going to be fun to have on set.
Chad and I are actually from the Pittsburgh area, and we get to see Savini a lot at our local Steel City convention.
Nice.
Yes, we're big fans of his work.
Yeah, and he's a spectacular guy too.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, if somebody on the East Coast is really interested in, because I do think that this film is going to do really well. We have a huge fan base that I think will really come out for this film, and there's just tons of fans out there. How on the East Coast can help us make it happen at one of their conventions. You know, we're definitely open to that possibility.
Next question. How was it working with Never Hike Alone director and actor Vincent DeSanti?
He's awesome. Really brilliant. Easy to have around on set. Very helpful. You know, I ran into a situation where for some limitations on our set where I had to change some shots super fast, and it was while he was for what he was doing. And I just went to him and I said, Vincent, this isn't the shots I had planned aren't going to work. Here's my problem. And within 10 minutes, he and I got together and came up with some new shot plans. And, you know, he was completely flexible and, like I said, very easygoing. I really respect him. I mean, Never Hike Alone, it may be a fan film, but it looks every bit like a major Hollywood film.
That's for damn sure.
And Andrew Laity, as you may know, he's in our film as well.
Mm-hmm.
He Kelsey, she's what I call our monster killer, and he is her boyfriend and brilliant performer. easy on the eyes. To say, but
Great honesty there. I like
yeah.
that.
So I'm super thrilled about working with them again and having them back on set again.
All right, cool. Now, in what ways do you plan on paying homage to the Friday the 13th franchise in this film?
There's a lot of little Easter eggs that the fans will find throughout and really have fun with. Yeah, I think they're going to really enjoy it. We're putting little twists and little changes and things. I mean, because this is a combination horror thriller.
Mm-hmm.
It's very different than Friday the 13th, but it has a lot of the things that the fans love. For example, that's a big thing for the fans. The horror kills, but this is much more realistic because it's something that can actually happen. Mm-hmm. It's also a bit of a murder mystery too. So we've got horror, thriller, and murder mystery in one because you really don't know who the killer is until the very end.
It's a meta slasher whodunit.
And I think if you look at the movies, Cape Fear and Hush.
Love that movie, Cape Fear.
Oh, I do too. They're both brilliant. And Cape Fear is one of my all-time favorites. You put that in with horror kills, and that's what we're shooting for. That edge of your seat. Oh, shit, what's about to happen?
Mm-hmm. So can we expect any little dark comedy bits in here, or is this going to be full up, straight on horror thriller?
There definitely is some levity in it for, like any good, whether it's a drama or horror or thriller or whatever it is, there's moments that kind of break that tension up and make you laugh. For the most part, yes, it is definitely edge of your seat thriller. But we do have a few little things in there. We'll chuckle.
Wes?
Yep. You guys had reached 111% of your total goal. How will the bigger budget benefit the film's overall quality?
It's actually more than that. It's kind of an interesting. I found out that once you meet your goal, then they don't keep adding it up anymore.
Oh,
so no, but yeah.
So it's a set amount you pay, like kind of almost have to pay, and then it doesn't.
What it is that, and I'd have to do the math to figure out what the actual percentage is right now. But we were trying to raise $50K, and we're at $57K. I'm sorry, $67K.
Oh,
wow!
So we're really thrilled about that. Of course, we have investors too. We can't make this movie on that. If we were doing it in a slasher kind of way without these known horror icons, can make anything happen for a very tiny budget in the horror world. Mm-hmm. But with the people we have on board and stuff, we have to have investors too.
Yeah, of course.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So getting off of 13 Fanboy More on Friday the 13th, what's your favorite memory from filming part 5?
The part that I found the funniest was at lunchtime. Good chuckle because you're going through, the lunch line and, there's, Dominic carrying his arm and Ron Sloan has his head and and stuff on them and trying to eat, like that. I just found that to be pretty darn funny.
All right. So who is your favorite final girl from the Friday the 13th franchise?
Be tough for me to pick, but I would have to say Adrienne King is among my favorites. She because it's the first one, mm-hmm. She helped set that standard, and she has a real, kindness about her, very likable, well, as a human being in real life and also on the screen. And but I also love Amy Steele and Laura Lincoln, and both of them are terrific people. I haven't had the opportunity to meet everybody, but yeah, there's some really great people. I find something interesting is just how nice horror people in horror are.
Yes.
And I had someone tell me it was a fan, and he said, he goes to a lot of conventions, so horror conventions, but also like the superhero stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He said, he'll go and be getting autographs and stuff from like superheroes and stuff. And he said are not as friendly. And here's this guy, who slaughters people, and he'll be sitting there with this big giant smile and be just as friendly and as down to earth as possible. And I don't know what it is about horror fans and those who work in horror, or I guess maybe it has to do that with how clear we are that we're just having fun, that this is just a playground and we're all in the sand pile together and, let's have a good time. I'm not sure what it is, but something really nice about that.
The horror community definitely seems to be like this nice brother/sisterhood of everybody just basically getting along and being real easygoing. The ones that I've met, they've all been really super nice too.
Right.
I think it has a lot to do too with people growing up seeing these movies. When I was, 8, 9, 10 years old, I probably shouldn't have been watching them, but I would go over to my buddy's house. We'd have a sleepover, we'd watch these movies, and you kind of grow up with these movies. And I think it has a lot to do with it's just something that always is near and dear to your heart once you attach to these movies. You know what I mean? So I think that helps out a lot how people are.
I think that's probably right. It is interesting to see the reality of who the horror fan is versus what people think the reality of a horror fan is.
Mm-hmm.
And according to some people, you would be a demented psycho killer.
Right. Yeah, that's what people think of me. So, that's just... Yeah. If you go downstairs to my basement, you'd probably turn me into the FBI because I got all these, heads and hanging on the walls, Freddy gloves and all this crap. But, and to the normal person that comes down there, Dad, they're like, okay. I'm afraid to when I have a plumber come downstairs or I have a plumber in my house, I'm afraid to get him downstairs because I'm wondering oh my God, this guy's going to think I'm some kind of killer or something. So
have you ever had anybody back out of your place?
I haven't had that yet, but they usually there's a couple times where they actually were like, oh, this is pretty cool. But there's a couple times that they just looked around and just kept walking and really, look at me or anything. Yeah.
Wes, segue.
Oh yeah. All right. What is your favorite Jason Voorhees kill, Deb?
Well, honestly, it'd have to be down to 2. I hate to say it, but both mine and Eddie's.
Yours was awesome. Hey, I'm going to tell you right now, yours, for a lot of people are funny with the 5 film because they always say, oh, not the real Jason, I don't like it. They base a lot of the stuff off that. But if you really watch that film, it has a lot of cool kills, and it is out of all the Jason's, it is just, I think it's almost more the most brutal film out of all with the kills. And I agree with you. I think yours that's a brutal kill. It's
right.
You think about that, or the one where he twists who was that where he twists it's in 5, but
that's the belt.
I don't know what guy he was. The belt kill around the
Eddie. That was my boyfriend in it. Yeah.
Right. Awful. it's just it's some brutal kills in that movie, But yeah, yours, I agree with you, Deb.
It's interesting. I find it a bit confusing when somebody cites it as a problem because it is actually goes back to the original film because we have that psycho parent lashing out irrationally at everybody around.
Right. That's true.
And so in actuality, it is very much in line with the original. Other ones is actually, they're the ones that deviated from the original. They
deviate from the original, correct. Okay, yeah. No, you're right.
Okay, wait, before I just want to tie in a question, if I could, real quick. Yes. So your death scene was the first scene that was actually filmed in the movie, right?
Not in the whole movie, but for me it was.
Oh, okay.
The day that the first day I was on set, we did the full the love scene and the kill scene.
So was that, did you feel a little bit intimidated, or was it kind of like, just get the worst part over with first and then just kind of coast through the rest of it?
It was really smart on Danny's part to do it first because it is intimidating. Let's be realistic here. I don't know these people.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Well, I'm naked.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that scene. I'm gonna be honest with you.
No, but then partway through the day, I'm also blind. I can't see. And I'm like that for a very long time. Blood is seeping in my eyes. It hurts. Danny, I couldn't have asked for somebody kinder to handle the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He was very careful once I had the mask on my face and I couldn't see anymore. He made sure that he was the one that came to the makeup trailer, and he made sure that he led me and kept his arm on me. So it wasn't just like this stranger walking up and without me knowing who it was. I knew his voice, and he I didn't fall or trip over anything, and and everything was being shot for both a TV version and the R-rated version.
Mm-hmm.
And so that took a lot of time. And then it's 3 hours in the makeup chair getting ready.
Wow.
And then a very long time. Maybe the part once the blood got in my eyes, maybe it wasn't as long as it seemed, but it seemed that was a good couple hours. A little bit more. If I'm wrong on that, it's only because it felt that long.
So 13th and final question. Who's your favorite Jason and why?
That's really tough because so many, they have some really great characteristics, each one of them. And I'm going to jump out of the box and go with more than just the Jason, but the actual killer in it.
Okay.
I thought Pamela Voorhees, that twist was brilliant.
Okay.
The mother, she was a psycho going after and what she perceived as the people who harmed her child, even though they really didn't. I like that storyline. I like the way that she did it. That performance. As far as those who played actual Jason, I love CJ's interpretation of him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did a terrific job. I also like Derek Mears. It was a very aggressive, fast moving. And honestly, I was like, okay, now that guy coming after me, that guy scares me.
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones I felt like I could outrun.
Yeah, they got slower and slower as the movies went. Yes.
Yeah. And then, of course, who doesn't love King Hodder? He's a beautiful job. And then, if we're going to go into, I love Vincent DeSantis version and his Never Hike Alone.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, when that man, he's just as friendly as can be, but he puts on that killer mask and goes into that mode, and the movie set, he gave me a few chills.
I bet.
Oh, shit. I don't know if I want him chasing me.
I don't want any of them chasing me, slow or fast. I don't want any of them chasing me.
Yeah.
With you, I'm just going to sit in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But, he couldn't be a nicer person. And, he, for our Indiegogo campaign that we shot, and that has nothing to do with the film. It is just a campaign video.
Mm-hmm.
And, but, we had that underwater scene and stuff, and I couldn't have asked for anybody better. Kelsey, who played Kaylee Greenbrower, is playing our lead role of Kelsey, and she was playing the lead role in our Indiegogo campaign as well. And there's an underwater scene with her, and we did that at a pool. And to make it realistic, he's holding her down underwater, and there's this struggle and things going on. And asked for a better stuntman because, he immediately, without any prodding from me at all, he gave her a signal. Squeeze my arm like this when you need to be let up. And they had a real nice system that went very quickly. Both of them were very, very professional.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was really nice working with him.
Awesome.
Yes. That is all the questions we have for you, Deb. Thank you for coming on Gore N More.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. And I really appreciate you taking time to give such thoughtful questions.
Yes. Chad and I are actually both backers in your project. Yes. We've been a big backer since day one, since you guys announced it. We're very excited for the project, and we are more than happy and honored to have you on this show.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, that's all for today. That's TJ signing off.
This is Chad signing off.
And Wes, see ya.
And Deb.
Guys, well, thank you. It was a pleasure.
Well, the pleasure is all ours. Thank you so very much for
Yep.
coming on.
The first time I saw you was on the screen at Sebastian's house. Back then you were so much older than me, but now you're a child. Oh, I was wondering why you got naked when that boy started kissing you. Ooh. I was disgusted yet oddly excited. The feeling was completely new. Ooh. It made you laugh when he kissed your breast. I didn't get the joke. He got up a few moments later and left you all alone. As you lay there in the forest, I pictured myself lying right next to you. Ooh. You fell asleep, someone approached, I figured it was your friend returning to you. You didn't have any time to move. We sat and watched as he murdered you. I thought it was safe, we wanted to play. Yo, brother, we should leave now. We were led astray, the pastor would say, yo, your sin shall find you out. I stood frozen, desperately trying to make sense of it all. Your body lay motionless and your face was covered in blood. And then your boyfriend came back looking for you. I started shaking cause I knew. Ooh. We tried to warn him but he couldn't hear us through the screen. Oh, what could we do? Ooh. He didn't have any time to move. His blood was dark, it was almost blue. I thought it was safe, we wanted to play. Yo, brother, we should leave now. We were led astray, the pastor would say, yo, your sin shall find you out. Oh, and as we made our way back home, I felt ashamed, I I fell in love as he murdered you.